I got my board, I'm the captain, Tonight on my bed door, girl, you ain't seen nothing yet. Party done, got me outside, ready to go, go jump in the ride.
Hey, come take a break. Yes, you, come take a break. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Yes, I'm back with another video. Okay, guys, I know, it's a story time. Yes, you've been waiting for it, and your girl was like, why not? Why not drop another banging video? So, guys, before I continue, please, guys, continue to comment, like, subscribe, and click on the notification button so you can be the first one to hear or get the banging news before your neighbor does. So, guys, this is a story that happened like a couple of years back when I was still in high school. So there was this guy, right? So this guy that he used to wear shades like all the time. He had his shades on when he came in the morning to school. He had his shades on in class. He had his shades on break time. He had his shades on after school, right? So he never removed his shades. So, like, it got me wondering, like, what's up with this guy? So, at that time, I was still doing grade 9, and I only knew him because I saw him, like, around the school. And I always kept asking myself, like, why is this guy wearing I'ma make me look nice? So, bear in mind, I'ma make me look nice are not your typical reading glasses, are not your typical your glasses, your spectacles for like sight and all of that. They're not those. Am I making me look nice? Are your tinted, like your Ray-Ban glasses, your tinted glasses? So me, not personally, I call them, am I make me look nice? So he kept on having these make me look nice glasses all the time. And I was like, okay, what's up with Ukai? Like, what's up with the whole make me look nice glasses? How? So a friend of mine was like, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm gonna walk up to this guy and I'm gonna ask him, what you do? Like, I wanna see your eyes. Like, no one has ever seen his eyes, like, in the entire school. No one. No, even his school, even his classmates don't even know how his eyes like are. So I thought she was bluffing. Then my friend leaves, she just leaves me standing there, and she like literally just like leaves me there, and I don't know, she just disappeared. A couple of minutes later, she comes back smiling, and I'm like, and then when she's like, no, I was actually looking for the guys, Uma Shades. So we're gonna call him Uma Shades, right? So I was looking for Uma Shades, and I'm like, Uma Shades, and she's like, I'm tired of this thing of him wearing shades and us not seeing his eyes. I wanna see his eyes. So I went to him, and I asked him to do, can I see your eyes? Can you take off the shades because I wanna see your eyes? And I'm like, Mpumi. That was my friend's name. Mpumi. I'm like, Mpumi. Like, are you serious? She's like, hey, Kelly. Yo, so my pela. So I'm like, okay, so what did you see? Because now I was interested. I was like, okay. What did you see? What did he say? Did he take off his shades? What's up? So she's like, apparently I got them. And I was like, sure, Ndwana. And he was like, sure. And then she's like, I'm gonna wanna make like I'm like, yo, the type of backbone that this girl has, who does that? And the guy first was like, like he actually gave her like this, like, what the hell, like, girl, like, is this girl serious, like, really? And then eventually he took off his shades and he showed her his eyes, like, and I'm like, girl, okay, tell me, how is his eyes? And she was like, yo, they are the most beautiful things you can actually find. Like, this guy has the most nicest eyes. Like, your pupils, like, this white thing, babies, but I think it's pupils. I don't know. I stand to be corrected. They were like crystal white, and he had this, like, my Chinese eyes, my sexy eyes, né? So he had like this, this, yeah. Ooh, yeah, he had those flaming sexy eyes kind of thing going on. So I'm like, if he has those kind of eyes, why does he hide them behind the shades? Because obviously those shades are so tinted, we can't see his actual eyes. And then apparently she's like, no, apparently Ukai has a medical condition. And I was like, for real now? Like, I'm like, okay, so what medical condition are we talking about here? And then she's like, no, apparently he's colorblind. And I was like, yeah, color what? So bear in mind at this time I'm doing grade 9. I don't know these terms. I've never heard anyone saying that they're colorblind. I didn't even know that there's a word that's even called colorblind, or there's a medical condition that's even called colorblind. No? And I was like, what is that now? And he's like, apparently he can't tell. He can't, like, tell color. He can't tell color apart. So basically he only sees in forms of like your black and your gray, or your red, your like your maroonish, yellowish, kind of colors in between those brackets. I'll just like drop a few pictures of the types of colorblind categories that are there, so at least you guys know exactly which, what I'm actually talking about. So that's the reason why I actually wore the glasses. So the glasses, his eyes were like quite sensitive to the sunlight, so he had to actually keep the glasses on. That's why he had to actually keep them on even when he was in class, because of the lighting. So he would like literally sit like at the back of the class, and then he would like find it much easier for him, because he felt like it was much better for him. I don't know what was that vibe about, but yeah. And then a couple of years later, so that's like grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, then I became in the same class with this guy, or my shades. Yo, have you ever had that one classmate where you sincerely, when you see them back then, like they really, really like annoy you, like your spirits and their spirits they don't mingle, they don't clash at all. That's just how it was between me and this guy. So from a guy that was so interested in seeing his eyes in grade 9, to a guy that's now my classmate, and I literally despised him. He was annoying. And the funny part, as much as he was annoying, he literally loved my attention. Everywhere I went, he was right here. He was like right here. So I'm not sure if I should say by default or what, we actually took the same subjects. So I did economics, business studies, consumer studies, and and maths lit. Yeah. So we took the same subjects. And I expected him for like consumer studies for him to take tourism. And he was like, no, he's gonna take consumer studies. Like the first time he came to the class, and they brought him to the class because now he was in the wrong class, where their class only had like tourism students, so they had to bring him to my class, because my class was a combination of consumer and and engineering. So whenever we split classes, there was a split between consumer class and engineering. So he had to come into my class. The first time he walked into my class, I was like, oh, and I'm in this class with this thing, like with this person, like really, like that's how I literally felt, because he was annoying. And then after that, when we continued, being in the same class with him, I got to realize, this guy, he's just a jokester. He was like a person that, people that move with the waves of time. They just go with the flow of the universe. They don't have a sense of direction where they're going. They're just flowing. He would like in the morning, whenever like the teacher will be like calling out the register, calling us out whether you're present, absent, stuff like that. He will literally make sure that he's the last one to walk in the class. And when they were like, my shades, and then he was like present, second in class in. So he used to be those jokesters, the ones that used to make themselves the clown in the class. So that's how it used to be. And then how me and him got talking was when we were in consumer studies. So what guy used to, as I said, he used to always like sit at the back of the class. I'm not sure what was his reason for doing that, but he enjoyed sitting at the back of the class. So the consumer ma'am knew about his condition, so she actually forced him to come and sit in front. So I've always been a teacher's pet. Always. Don't judge me. I've always been a teacher's pet, so I always like sat in the front row. Always sat in front, because I felt like if I sat in the back, I'm the last one to get whatever information that has been, passed out. So if I sit in front, I'm the first one to get the information, So he had to actually come and sit in front, and he came to sit next to me. Bear in mind that I was like so annoyed. And then when he got there, he had this, smirk on his face, like, okay, what's up with this one now? And then he said there, like, I didn't even say 2 words to him, like, the entire period, until it was break time. Then we walked out of the class, and he was like, "Are you usually that quiet?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay. What do you mean?" He's like, "I usually this quiet during class." I'm like, "Yeah, obviously. Like, how? Why would I even talk to you?" He's like, "But you don't have to be uptight. You can just have some fun." And I was like, "Really now? Really?" And then he just left me. Then just walked away. I'm like, "This guy's so full of himself. He is so full of himself." And then 2 weeks later, we started having like the small talks and stuff like that. And he would like take my books home. He would like borrow my books like for economics. Like the problem is that he was like, it was so hard for him to see the words that were written on the board, so it took him quite long to finish his notes. And bear in mind, economics has a lot of notes. It's just like business studies has a lot of notes. So he would actually take like his time to write those notes, and he would take my book home. He would take my book on a Friday home, and he was like, "On Monday, I'll have your book back." Bear in mind, the dude will take my book on Friday, come back Monday. Where he stopped, Gale full stop A1. That's where his book will still continue on that Monday. So I don't know why he would take my books to do what for who, or maybe this was just him trying to talk to me in his own way and stuff like that. But yeah, he never used my books. I think he just took my book just to make his bag feel more heavier, then bring it back on Monday, and then yeah, he never finished his notes. That's where the problem was. He never finished his notes. So I remember this one time we were having practicals in consumer studies, and when we have practicals, so we actually do like either bake or cook. So it's between in those brackets. So this time we're baking. I think it was a chocolate oil cake, and unfortunately enough, I was paired with him. I was like, "Yo, okay." The thing that I loved about him, right? He didn't want to do like the mixing job. I'm a neat freak. I'm a hygiene freak. So when it comes to mixing using your hands, I preferred using my hands, right? Remember, guys touch a lot of things. So imagine that guy if he has to mix using his hands after touching those things, you know? So I was like, I'm gonna do the mixes. He was like, "No, you do the mix and all of that. I'll go and look for utensils. Like if you need a bowl, I got you. If you need a spoon, I got you. If you need a whisk, I got you. If you need a spatula, I got you." You know? So he was like my runaround boy. Being to him commands. Go switch on the oven. Go check if the cake is baking. Bring me 2 eggs. So he didn't care for as long as he he was gonna get his mugs. He was short, and I was thrilled. But as long as I'm not gonna eat a cake, which I know that I mixed with my hands, and it was clean, you know. So yeah, so I was thrilled. Honestly, I don't wanna lie to you. I was literally thrilled. After that, so during that whole entire time, we kept on conversation, like we had a small talk and stuff like that. So I got to know what kind of person he is, where he stays and stuff like that. So from that, so actually we're in that like that buddy zone. So ever since from that practical, we became quite tight. He would talk, whenever we go to economics, we'll talk. Whenever we go to consumer, we'll talk. Business studies, we'll talk. So it became more of like friend classmates kind of thing, right? From a person that I despised to a person that was now a friend was, yeah. It's like funny how the circle keeps changing. So after that, I think it was like after 3 months. So I think after 3 months after of us being tied, he was on some like, "I have a crush on you." And I'm like, the first time he said that, I literally laughed. Like I literally laughed in his face, because I never pictured him as my type of guy that I would date, or I never even pictured him as a person that I would even say that I love. So when he says like, "I have a crush on you," I literally laughed, and I was like, "Dude, come on." Then he laughed, and I was like, let's leave it. 2 weeks later, he repeated the same thing, and I'm like, "What's up with this guy?" And I'm like, "Are you serious? You have a crush, or you like me?" Like, "I like you, like you, you know?" I'm like, "Okay." Like me. He's like, like you." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Didn't give him an answer. A month later, I kept on saying, "I'm still waiting for your answer. Do you want to be my girl or what?" I'm like, "No, man. No." My shades no, my shades no. And then he was like, okay, child. After I said no, right? Then it was 2 months later. I heard rumors that he was dating a girl in the same class that we were in. The only difference with this girl, she did maths lit, she did economics, she did business. Instead of consumer studies, she did engineering. Right? So he was dating that girl. Funny enough, I was kind of pissed. I don't know why, but I was pissed. I was pissed to say, you know what? Couldn't he go and date someone else? Other from the one that's in our class? Like, there's so many girls out of, like, there's, like, there's 11B, 11C, 11D, 11E. He can go and, search in those classes and find some other girl from there. Why does it have to be the girl that's in our class? Like, what the hell? You know? And then as time went, I was like, it is what it is. But the thing that their whole relationship thing did not really go on for a very long period of time. I think it was just for like 2 weeks. Because one time I saw him, like after school he would walk her like home, I'm car, pay him, but check and stop sign me, check on guys, if you know what that means, hooking up on the stop signs. They will do that. At break time after he's done eating, they'll chill in the class and talk. You know how high school kids, how we do things, right? So that's how it was done. After the 2 weeks, I don't know if it's 2 weeks or a month, they actually broke off. I'm not really sure what really happened. So today, I'm not sure what really happened between him and her for them to actually, cut the relationship off. After that, I think that was like we're going towards the end of the year. I think it was around September. Yeah, we're doing like our final, our final exams at that time. So everybody had the stress of the exams. Everybody was trying to submit assignments. Everybody was like, we're like running like mad dogs and shit there. And this guy, he was like living in his own world. He was like super chilled. He was super, super chilled. That's one thing about him that I've learned, that he's super chilled. He does things at his own pace, at his own time, with no pressure, right? So came December time when we got our reports, I passed, and unfortunately he didn't make it. Yeah, it was kind of unfortunate. So once he didn't make it, actually he decided, school wasn't for him. He'd rather go and learn something that has to, that involves him doing something with his hands, right? So he went to Limpopo and he did a chef course, right? So he was there for like a couple of months. Yeah, I think it was like, I think not a couple of months, I think it was like 2 years or 2 or 4, if I'm not mistaken. I stand to be corrected them. So he did that course. So when I was doing matric, bear in mind, I also wanted to also indulge in the culinary arts, but I was actually looking for a good school. So I didn't know which school to go to, and I needed a school that was affordable. Bear in mind, these culinary schools they are expensive. They're hella expensive. And for you to attend to them, I must say you're really, really privileged. So he was going to one and was like, if he could get one, that means whichever school it is affordable. So funny enough, I had his numbers on my phone. He saved his numbers on my phone, but never have I ever called him. Never have I ever called him. So because I wanted to know more about his school, now I had to swallow my pride and call him. So I called him and he's like, hello. And I'm like, hi. He's like, Unjani. And I'm like, Gishap. And he's like, Gishap. And then he's like, and I'm like, do you know who you're talking to? And he was like, no. And I'm like, how? Guess a pen. And he started laughing and he was like, I know. So there was a nickname that he gave me in high school because I was so uptight. I was a teacher's pet and all of that. So he used to call me Sister Shugs. Like, the nun, the prayer nun. He used to say that I'm a nun. So he would call me Sister Shugs. And then I'm like, come on, Sister Shugs. And he was like, yo, dude, really, who and yo, like I don't even have your numbers anymore. I lost my phone. What. And I'm like, really? Like, yeah, I lost my phone. Yo, I'm so happy to hear your voice. It's been a while. How's school? So now, bear in mind, the reason why I called him was to find out about his school. Like, when is the registration? when are the registration opened, how the the fees, how is it there, all of that. Now we end up talking about ubani ukuphi kanjani. Where is offense? Where is Katleho? Where is Mpumi? Where is Mpo? Now we're talking about all these people. I'm literally forgetting the reason why I called Uma Shades, you know? And then he's like, no, I'm chilled, I'm good. So I'm like, where you at? He's like, no, I'm in Joburg. I'm in Central. He was working in Central at that time. He was doing his practical at Melrose Arc. So he was doing his practical, so he was gonna be like in Joburg for, I think, for a month, and then he's gonna go back. So I'm like, oh, that means we need to meet up and sit down and talk. He was like, yeah, why not? And I'm like, so since you got my numbers, you have to call me this evening, 9 o'clock on the dot, 9 p.m. on the dot. So if you're gonna call me at 210001, 21001, you must call me 2100. Mighty 21003, 21002. Don't even bother calling. He's like, okay, shit, chill. Believe you me, guy called at 2100 on the dot. And I was like, dude, okay. And at that time when I said that, I was just joking. It was just me giving him a hard time. And then I still remember that night I slept, I think it was around 1:30 at night, because we were talking about so many things. So from that one phone call, it became an everyday thing. So we spoke every single night. And it was not just for 2 hours, not for 3 hours, it was like 4 hours non-stop. When you Telcom to Telcom, they gave you the free, those free Mahala calls. Once we tired of Telcom, you'd move into MTN. MTN had those midnight curfew kind of things going on. We'd hop into those network providers. So we started talking. So I got to know what kind of person he is, and I got to know that he was also quite smart as well. In his own way of thinking, he was quite smart. He was also quite open-minded as well. So there were times whereby he didn't call, and I'll be like upset. And I was like, why isn't he calling today? Like, it's already 9 o'clock. Oh, why doesn't he call? And all of that. That's when I noticed, like, girl is catching feelings. Girl is catching feelings. Why am I feeling not okay? Because he didn't call. What's up with that? Like, seriously, am I catching feelings? That's when I realized it might be, liking this guy. Oh, my shades. And then after, I think we spoke for like a month and a half. And then after he was like, our sister Shigs, we've been speaking for days, every single day. Me and you talk on the phone. Like, don't you want us to make this official? I've been asking you out since from high school. And I'm like, okay, let's give it a try. Like, what do I stand to lose? No, but just trying. And I was like, yeah, let's go ahead, let's give it a try. And then we gave it a try officially. And then we met the first time. I still remember the first time we met. We met at where was that place? We met his dears in Lens, in one of the shopping centers around here. We met his dears. He was wearing a chino brown pants with a black t-shirt and a beanie. And he looked good. Like, from the time that he was wearing his school uniform to him wearing casual. Oh, guy looked good. You know what I mean? Good. He looked dripping, like drip, nje. Drip, right? I was like, I was impressed. And he was like, oh, okay. At that time, your girl was wearing all-star white with denim shorts and a vest. So I kept it casual, playing it cool. So he was like, oh, how you doing and stuff like that. And he smelled good. Ladies, a guy that smells good, like, he touches, he takes all the buttons and he touches all the buttons. A guy that smells good, looks good, cherry on top, A-lister kind of vibes. So that's where he was right now. So we said we had lunch. So ever since from that day, we kept on meeting on a regular basis, probably like 2 times a month or 3 times a month. Whenever he would get cash and whenever I have cash, we would meet up. So this happened after my matric. That's when we became actually official, and became an item when we dated. So I think it was 4 months later, around in December, I started working. I was working as a sales representative at one of the stationery shops around here. So he had a 21st birthday party. His birthday is actually in January, but he couldn't do it in January because he didn't have cash, so it was postponed till December. So he had like a birthday party kind of thing. So people kept on saying, yeah, he has a lot of girlfriends. You'll never be Mrs. Patty. You know, Mrs. Patty is it's a big deal. Mrs. Patty is it's a big title. If you have a boyfriend and it's his 21st and you're not Miss Patty, girl, it's a big deal, you know. So I got worried. I'm like, hey, probably they're right, and you know, like this guy, he's too good to be true. Can't you? I was Miss Patty. Me and I became Miss Patty, and I was sitting right there, you know, in those big chairs. Everybody was like looking at me and him. Where were those people saying that I won't be Mrs. Pat? That's really left in utter shock. And I still went and asked them, how you said I won't be Mrs. Patimas because he has a lot of people. He can have all of them, A, B, C, and D, but I'll always be so no. Everyone was in utter shock. Like, how did I end up as Mrs. Pat? Right? So during the same evening, he introduced me to some of his friends, the people that he lived with, and Limpopo and all of that, right? So the particular girl that he introduced me to, by the name of we'll call her Faith. Yeah, we'll call her Faith for now. By the name of Faith, right? So he introduced me to her as a friend. Like, no, this is a friend of mine in school and all of that. She chills with us. I'm like, okay, chills. I was happy to meet, you know, all of his crew and stuff like that. They knew me as Uma Shade's girlfriend, and you know, vice versa. Chilled. After the party, we still hanged and chilled. Went out for lunch together, and then they went back to Limpopo. 6 months later, this was sometime around in September, I was like, no, I'm gonna take a road trip. I'm gonna go to Limpopo. Okay, fine. Girl packs her bag on my way to Limpopo. When I get there, in his room, something just said to me, open his drawer. When I opened his drawer, there was a necklace, like a chain, in the wardrobe. And I was like, hey man, I don't own this chain, and never have I been here. This is like my first time. So what's up with this chain? So I take the chain and I wait for him to come back. I'm like, and then whose chain is this? And then he's like, no, it's for one of the girls. I'm like, one of the girls? Which girls? He couldn't answer me. I'm like, oh, it's like that now. It's really like that. So, so I'm like, dude, okay, it's the girls that do what? What are they doing here? Like, no, they come into my room and then they chill, we watch movies and stuff like. So they're always chilling in my room. I'm like, so if they chill in your room, why are they leaving their personal stuff here? He's like, I don't know, you know how clumsy girls can be. I'm like, for real now? He's like, so I actually was like kind of pissed for that like hour and stuff. After that, he like, you know, I was like, no, I just came here to have a good time. Let me just do that. So I brushed it off. I was like, can you just never ever tell them when they come here, they shouldn't leave the stuff here, because on the moon and your person trips. Like this chick, she can go mad on her own. I didn't sis. And I was like, okay, chilled. Came back to Joburg. Bear in mind, guys, our relationship was good. We're in the honeymoon phase. He called 247. The I love yous, the I miss you, good morning, Texas, you name it. We were like, yo, we're like this, guys. How? And then I tried to make sure, like, maybe after every 2 months, I'll go and visit him. So 2 months later, I go back to Limpopo. This time, I found, do you know the silk gowns? The rope that you tie the gowns with. I found the rope. It was black with pink and purple hearts. I still remember it till today, imagine. Pink and purple hearts. And I'm like, and then, hey, gown, who's gown? Is like, no, it came with my friend's old things. So my friend came with the stuff here, so he left his clothes here. So there's his girlfriend's robe and gown robe thing. And I'm like, this dude thinks that he ngiyakula or ngiyahlanya or ngidomo ngibona enzani. But you know, when you love someone, you don't see the little things that they do. You don't see even if they screwing you over. You don't see that. You just see them as this, this love of your life. So that's like that thing. So that's where I was in my life, okay, at that point in time. Guys, don't judge. So after that, I was like, okay, child, okay, fine. 2 months later, again, back in Limpopo, so in a suitcase, like those big traveling suitcases, under his table, his study table. And I'm like, suitcase Araban. He's like, it's Faith's suitcase. I'm like, what is Faith's clothes doing here? He's like, no, Faith got kicked out at her rental place because she couldn't pay for rent, so they kicked her out. I'm like, so much doesn't she have other girlfriends that she can drop her suitcase at? He's like, no, she trusts me and all her other girlfriends have went back home. So I'm the only one that's still around in Bob. Also, she left her stuff here for me to look after them and stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay. That's when it hit me. Just like, put two and two together. The chain, in was a gun. So the suitcase, something ain't right. Something is not right. So that same night, I was like, as in, we Inspector Gadget. I'm gonna browse his phone. As much as I do not like touching his phone, but I was like, that night, I'm gonna browse his phone. I wanna see what this guy has been up to. As soon as I logged in, WhatsApp, the messages that were there, boy, I love you, boy, I miss you, boy, when are you gonna visit? And this is like random checks, bruh. Random checks. I'm like, this nigga thinks that he can screw me over. I'm like, okay, child. I take his phone, take screenshots, send it to my phone. Because you know how guys once you tell them that you've caught them cheating, the first thing that they do is they deny. So if I'm showing evidence, it's me and I see you and I say he has nothing to deny. So I was like, that's what I'm gonna do to him. Okay, child. The following day in the morning, he was like, he woke up in a good mood. He was like, I'm gonna go and buy you donuts and some mac and bean and all of that. I'm like, okay, child, do that, He went, brought stuff home, we ate, we chilled. I'm like, let me bring up the shit now. I'm like, how my shit's got young Jolene. Ngiyakujolela mina. I'm like, ungathi wena uyangijolela na? Hayi ngikujolile mina. I would never do that. Yazi wena, you're my ride or die. So fasilahlane. You're my backbone. Oh, I'm your backbone. For real now? Yeah, babe, how? Where are you taking all of these things from? Are you and your insecurities? Yeah. Wena vele hlezi unesikhwele. Unesikhwele manje. How? Okay, so tell me, what is this? Ubani sweetness? Ubani uphumzile? Ubani ulebe? Guy was here. Do not know what to say. I'm like, Explain again. Insecurities, nyara. Explain. And then he's like, hey, sure, I know, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. Just that, you know what, it was just me, like, just trying to play around. I'm like, dude, how can you play around? What don't I give you? That question till today I hate it, because that's the question that breaks us as women. Once you ask a guy, what's he? You're doubting yourself as a woman. He did not cheat because you didn't give him anything. He cheated because he wanted to. Cheating is a choice. Let's bear that in mind, guys. No excuses for that. And then he's like, okay, I'm sorry, please forgive me. You know when you love someone, you slim, like you literally become a fool for days. That's where I was. I became a fool. I was like, okay, child, I forgave him. Came back to Joburg. He tried to patch things up. Believe you me, this guy, my shades was romantic. He was Johnny Bravo. I think he even taught Johnny Bravo his game. This guy would just say, come over to my place, so then share, this Italian things that you've never eaten. Double KFC, double Nando's, things that you've never eaten. That's the kind of things that he would actually, cook. Okay. As time goes, I'm like, probably he has changed. So 7 months later, I literally thought that, you know what, this guy has changed. And I'm like, okay, all right, okay. So this time around, I was not in Bobo. He came back to Joburg due to the fact that I think it was like the school holidays or something like that. So he came back to Joburg to come and see like his family and stuff like that. So we're at his place at that time. And I was like, can you bring me your phone? I want to take selfies. And he was like, he was first hesitant about it. Then he eventually gave me his phone. And I was like, you're being hesitant. Something ain't right. So I took pictures, and then I went back onto the gallery to send myself those pictures. Oh, as I'm scrolling through those pictures, I see other girls' pictures. I'm like, man, I know this girl. When I open the pic, guess who it is? Faith. It's him and Faith in bed. So, hey guys. So it's basically him. I'm just gonna give you like a picture of how this, like a brief description actually. My shades, he's laying on top of the bed. Oh, Faith, he's laying on top of him like Kanji. She's wearing the same gown that I found the robe for. The same black, pink, hearts, purple hearts. Same gown. That's what she's wearing. And she's like literally laying on top of him like this. And she's on this taking the picture like on this angle, right? And I'm like, okay. I'm like, and then my shades, in Manjala. Hi, sure, yabon. You asked to take pictures. Now you're busy going through my stuff. I'm like, it's some more. Relax. What is this? Me searching your phone, we'll talk about that later. What is this? Ish, sure. I'm like, what's really going on? Tell me the truth. So basically, Uma Shades was dating Faith. The time that he introduced me to Faith is, he introduced me as his girlfriend to Faith, and Faith as his friend to me. They were dating. And to make things worse, that after the whole 21st party, we still went and had lunch together, and we're there and we're laughing. And you know, I was like, Faith is quite a chill girl. We even exchanged numbers to keep on talking, not knowing that this person is no one, like not knowing, like under my nose, literally, like what the hell. And that was not the only pic. There were lots more other ones. They were just of Faith wearing his stuff, things like that. So it was actually the vice versa thing. And I'm like, Masha, it's Vela, what's going on between you and Faith? And this time you better be honest, dude. Like, what the hell is going on? And he's like, no, me and Faith, we're dating. I'm like, before me or after me? Like, what's going on? He's like, when me and you started dating, then me and Faith also started dating. Like, I'm not sure, he was like, I think a year later. And I'm like, dude, a year later, and then you decide to go and date someone else. If you felt as if like me and you ain't working out, then tell me that, babe, this ain't gonna work out, and then so that I can move on and find whatever that I wanna find. Then I can leave you and your Faith to do whatever. And then I was like, dude, you've been cheating. I got your messages before, and you're still doing the same thing. What's up with you? And then Russia was on some like, he cannot commit. He has difficulty with commitment issues. Sticking to one person's a problem. He's been hurt for way too many times. So forth. The stories. So I was like, I cannot continue with such a person. If you cannot stick with me, then it's going to be a problem, because people have a lot of diseases and sicknesses out here, and you go and carry all of those dirty stuff and bring them to me, which I don't want to find myself being a victim of your actions. So to make things simple, you go and play your game. Once you're done playing, you know where to find me. He didn't really accept me breaking up with him immediately, but as time went, that's when it hit him that, this person was being serious, because after that I just packed up all my stuff and I was like, please take me home. And then he took me home. Then I think he actually had the thought in mind that, I'm just gonna give her like a day to calm down, and the following day me and her could talk. Then a day later, he called and I didn't pick up, and I was like, no dude. And then I blocked his numbers. And then later, I think it was like a month later, he sent me a text saying that he's sorry about whatever that happened, and hopefully one day me and him would be able to fix up whatever that we had. So I was like, me and you were together for like 3 years, and you had the decency to cheat with me with someone that you introduced to me as a friend. So I felt betrayed, I felt disrespected, and how to think that he's been doing it before with Faith, and he's now telling me that he cannot commit. So that's not a guy that I want. So yeah, that's how me and my shades ended. And I'm not sure if I should call the story Uma Shades, or should I call it I'm in love with the pineapple. But I love the one I'm in love with the pineapple because the pineapple looks all pokey outside, but just inside it's all sweet and stuff. So Uma Shades was all pokey, but once you remove all of that outside stuff and see the real him, he was like, he was the sweetest, he was the romanticest, he was guys. So I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna say either ways, whichever title that I am gonna put up for this particular video. Hope that you guys love the story. Please comment down below if you've got any questions. Please comment down below if you have similar stories like the ones that I have. That guys introduce you to their girlfriends saying that they are their cousins and sisters and what. Meanwhile, Gigi Bay, your side chick, guys do that all the time. So comment down below if you have experienced such a thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share as well. As I always say, from me to you, with love. Come take a break. Signing out.
You ain't really had nothing like this. Turn up in the neighbors to the bell. Baby girl, you gotta be quiet, yeah. Girl, I love the way you say my name, hey. And I know you know I like it. If that's one thing